Hello again, friends. Dan Alasso, Making History, and it is day 2 of my journey towards not being employed at Bemidji State University, 279 days to go. As I mentioned yesterday, I am going to be reporting on a daily basis about my retrenchment journey over the next 279 days. Some of these posts are going to have to do with how the situation that I find myself in seems to be a very, very clear demonstration of the current crisis in higher education. And this is one of the main reasons that I think I want to document this experience and why I think it might be resonant and it might attract readers. But along the way, I suspect I'm also going to be surprised by some of the experiences and the ideas that I encounter, things that I hadn't anticipated. And today, I have one of them. Writing open educational resources, OERs, is something that you do when you're employed, I've discovered. This isn't something that has really ever occurred to me in the past, because since I began writing OER 4 or 5 years ago, I've always been employed. I did recognize pretty clearly that it was the type of activity that tended to attract early career overachievers, people who were eager to make a name for themselves by going above and beyond the call of duty. But I figured what goes around comes around. And I also expected that, as Rajiv Jhangiani once said, change often comes one retirement at a time. So while I believe this is still true, I've recently run headlong into the reality that sometimes change comes one retrenchment at a time. Now, it's one thing to give away valuable content when you're an employee, and when the content both enhances your own organizational value and provides clear benefits to the students. The institution, of course, also benefits tremendously as well through increased enrollment and retention, as students discover that they can eliminate the crushing expense of commercial textbooks by coming to this institution and taking these courses. However, it's a bit much, I think, to expect people who are not collecting a paycheck to be expected to donate their intellectual property and their effort in this way. So, once I'm no longer earning a paycheck, I'm considering ending the giveaway. I gave away several of my OER textbooks on the Open Textbook Library over the years. These began with my American Environmental History textbook, which I'm actually revising this summer for my fall class. Then, after that, I wrote a Modern World History textbook that I later revised with the help of another Minnesota State professor. And I may want to revise this again if I decide that I might want to teach Modern World History on the web. And in that case, I will probably do it as my own project. Next was a U.S. History 1 textbook that kind of began as a remix and a revision of a pre-existing open textbook, but then pretty quickly evolved into my American History Told by Contemporaries primary source anthology. Now, I'm still working on that one, actually adding podcast links so that students can listen to each of the sources in addition to reading them. And I will be using this in my fall U.S. History 1 class. Finally, there's my note-making and writing guide, How to Make Notes and Write. And this one began its life as my father's short handbook for writing essays in the humanities, and it's been through a couple of revisions since then. The most recent one was last year, and that was when I added the note-making section to try to make it into a more complete methods textbook for students who want to learn to write a research paper. This one may be the most obvious candidate for removing from the open textbook library. I'm not teaching a course during my final year of employment at BSU that uses it. So there's no paycheck currently associated with it. And it does actually have a bit of a following. I suspect if it was no longer available as a free ebook, I might actually sell a few more copies. And since there are only 279 days left in my career at BSU, this is something that I now have to think about. So as of now, I'm removing the ebook version of How to Make Notes and Write from the open textbook library, and I'm making it available for sale on Amazon. And in the near future, I'll probably create a research and writing methods class that I'll offer online. So hopefully people who value this type of content will support it and will support the author now that I'm transitioning to freelance. And I'll continue to post updates daily about what I'm thinking about, what I'm working on, and how this experience is going of my final year of being in higher education. So I hope you found that a little bit interesting. Please do consider subscribing to support me in these efforts. And thanks very much for watching. I will see you again very soon.